for NASL Season 4 through the open qualifier, and now is one of the 45 players. And I think NASL is getting to the point where we have really prestigious players. So keep your eye out. Keep your eye out, especially for this week's qualifier number 3. In fact, you can still sign up. Say if you're watching and you say, I want a shot to play in NASL. Yes, you, the viewer. Even doesn't matter what league you're in, doesn't matter what you've done in the past outside the game of StarCraft 2. If you want to participate, go ahead and sign up at through our Beyond Gaming website. Well, actually, it's not our website, but just beyondgaming.com. I think I believe it's free to enter right now. So you just enter. It's no cost at all. Just show up and play. It's all throughout this week. You can find out more information at our website at nasl.tv.
Bischu starting things off with his EVP with a pylon on the top ground. Very interesting. We've seen players like Sase do this. Ooh, wow, Gateway going down. Bischu, you're playing the wrong matchup.
It's like, whoa.
This is not PvT or PvP.
Well, good thing Slivko is not going for a 6 pool or any kind of early pool. He's going to go for a quick hatch first. Wow. Well, that's very convenient.
Slivko is, of course, starting in the bottom left-hand corner as the...
this is apparently, a style that Axlav likes to do. I guess he does this, and I guess it's show match against Destiny as well. So this is really cool to see a different style of PvZ, Andre, where we don't have to confine ourselves to a Forge Fast Expand or even a Nexus First. You can kind of open up your possibilities now. He is going for gas as well. Some Protoss players like to, pressure a little bit, but I'm interested to see where Bischu goes from this. Huh.
Yeah, Bischu obviously going Gateway first into an expansion is a lot different. You're able to go Warp Gate play. A lot of different Gateway all-ins are actually existing now. Of course, we're not going to see that because all the Chrono Boost is being spent on what looks like probes.
Yeah, I guess at this point, Bischu not really investing too much. In fact, he doesn't even have an early Zealot. This is a little bit unusual, but at the same time, you have a lot of flexibility in terms of how you want to pressure, if you want to even pressure. You can expand and you can get your Warp Gate timing out at a very early time. A lot of Zergs are just not used to early Warp Gate pressure. You can even drop just 2 more gates, 3 gate pressure off of that. You can immediately tech as well, and as long as you're really smart in your ability to scout your opponent, that's why Bischu has a probe constantly back and forth, doesn't want to let it die at all. You can pretty much be able to control the map enough to wall off if you need to.
And you can see how long it took him to actually make a single unit. Only one Stalker is finally being pumped out. It's Chrono boosted out as well. He waited until his probe actually saw a single unit out for Slivko, and then he started making his units. And from here, he will just go ahead, wall off, make it so that there's just one tiny little slit where units can come out, of course, just to stop any Zergling run-bys or mass Zerglings from doing amazing amounts of damage. We're going to see 2 gateways most likely being popped out pretty soon. Oh, a Forge! Wow.
Yeah. The Forge is to get an upgrade. Of course, if you sense the fact that you need cans to wall off, you're never sure. And of course, Slivko sees everything with his Overlord as well. He says there's a pretty giant gap, and the fact that Bischu's playing this a little bit unconventionally.
Yeah, it is Dark Templars, by the way. Most likely
it is
Dark
DTs?
Templars.
Yeah.
It could be Bling Stalker. Don't get me wrong.
No,
but
you're right. It is DTs.
Dark Templars. There it is.
1 gate Dark Templars is the order for Bischu. Now, the thing you have to be very cautious about is what we were saying before. If the DTs don't do enough damage, there's no way you can hold off things like a Roach, 3-base Roach Max on it. It's just really difficult. So I don't think Bischu will have that problem because I don't see Zerg foreseeing this at all because he doesn't. How would he know? Is there any indications to give this off at all, Andre, from a Zerg perspective?
I would say so. It's within his opponent's range. He doesn't know about the third assimilator, but that is small. And realizing that the Forge is out, it's like, why would you need a Forge? Normally, it is double gateways directly after this. We've seen 1 gate expansion so many times. And yes, the +1, the upgrades do help. Don't get me wrong. But the fact of the matter is, when you get that Forge, it is more defensive. It means that you're not getting a ton of units out. And there aren't any overt +1 timings that exist. If you want to do +1 timing, Forge Fast Expansion is the way to do it. It's just better. It gets you your +1 faster. You have a bigger army. You have a bigger economy. It's just all around better. So this should be a very big tell that it is potentially something like Dark Templars. And look at that, 2 Spore Crawlers come out. It could still be Void Rays, so you have to be careful for that. That's why we should have Creep Spread connecting the bases.
It's very tight. Oh, the Dark
Oh my
Templars
gosh.
are walking right by
Oh my gosh, go for the Spore Crawlers.
Oh, yikes. He's not going to get there in time.
Yeah,
And Bischu, because he kind of has his Dark Templars on move command, is going to get thwarted. So a great job by Slivko. And we do see that at this point, Slivko is also dropping a Roach Warren. So I think if my suspicions are clear, he can just pump out an incredible amount of Roaches, really deal with Bischu trying to go for a 3rd base. But is he really going to be able to hold this, especially with a lack of units?
I don't think so. Bischu is in a position where he has to stay on 2 base for quite a long time. Slivko has the range of going some sort of huge all-in from here off of 3 bases. I shouldn't say all-in, but mass amounts of pressure. If I was in Slivko's position, I would take advantage of my opponent not having a lot of gas invested into major upgrades, whether that be Blink, whether that be +1. So make a lot of Zerglings, make a lot of Roaches, but make enough Zerglings to the point where you can get drop and Overlord speed. That's what you do instead of getting just the straight up mass Roaches. And that way you can just out-mobilize your opponent. You can attack the 3rd base, you can attack the natural over here, and you can attack the main. And there's just so many positions where Bischu has to defend that he can't take a 3rd base. It's just impossible to do that.
Yeah, the one thing that's kind of unique to Sentry Immortal is that you lose a lot of mobility you normally have in the mid game with Phoenixes, Void Rays, Blink Stalkers kind of thing. It's very grounded. You can't move too far out of position, and so you have to move Sentry Immortal kind of slow, depending on how you choose to defend your expansions. Now, the interesting thing is that Bischu actually dropped an Immortal dropped a Robo very quickly, so he actually can get a decent amount of Immortals out if he really wants to feel safe. But at this point, I like that Bischu didn't overextend too far with his Dark Templar. Instead, just try to control the Watchtower. Now, they will get surrounded and killed off, but will Bischu end up going for a 3rd base? Is he just trying to fake out his opponent? Is he going to try to harass the War Prism and Dark Templars? Bischu has a lot of options at his disposal, and I want to see what he does from here.
Yeah, it's still a really tough position for Slivko. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he has the initiative, but he's not super far ahead where it's just the game's over. So there's a lot of things that Slivko has to prepare for, and this is one of them. Yeah. This is an Archon Immortal Sentry. I don't even want to call it timing.
It's a very interesting timing.
It's an attack, but it's definitely not a timing.
It's a timing. It's a timing based off of, well, this is what I got to do now. And Bischu recognizes it. I guess at this point he walled off the rest of his natural. He does have a pretty intimidating force with 2 Immortals. You can do a lot of DPS as long as you get the force fields up, but a great flank from Slivko as well, trying to see if he can trap the units. Another good responsive force field from Bischu. Needs to get a warp in with his Warp Prism, but he's not really warping in whatsoever, and he's trying to also get more position. Slivko also trying to just slam his way back into the fight, but you can see Bischu forced to burn more energy. Oh, and that Warp Prism's so low. Bischu, take care of that Warp Prism.
You got it. 5 hit points. That's more than enough, bro.
Thank you, Dustin Browder.
Oh, and this pylon is blocking his 3rd base. How unfortunate.
Either that or the Zealots are warming up their side blades.
Yeah, that must be it. They're preparing like Void Rays, man.
Yeah.
Like, I want it to be a Void Ray. This is how I'm gonna.
That'd be so sick. Imagine Zealots get stronger every time they swipe.
Don't give Dustin Browder or David Kim any.
There's like an upgrade. Like every time a Zealot hits something, it gets +1 damage. So.
How about every unit gets experience, and if they get like 100 kills, they turn into like.
Yeah.
They automatically, like, any Protoss unit becomes cloaked. Doesn't matter. Any Protoss unit becomes cloaked if you have 100 kills.
Now that's starting to borderline OP. Come on, now. Let's not get crazy.
And if you're something like
basically
a Dark Templar,
Warcraft.
yeah, but if you're something like a Dark Templar, you actually get the blink ability, like Zeratul.
Oh, that'd be so sick. DTs with Blink.
Oh my god.
That'd be the most disgusting harass tool in the world.
And you can actually kill your own stuff to get kills.
Oh wow, get experience from killing your own units.
Yeah, man.
Then
Team kills.
That's just savage. Then basically you're Zerg. You just consume your own to power yourself up. But you can see that Slivko is max. We're talking about how hard it is to hold off basically this huge influx of units. First Colossus out of the way for Bischu. He does have Blink on the way as well. This is a phenomenal timing from Slivko. This is the optimal time to strike. There's not the many units. You can hit from two flanks, basically.
Most certainly. And the 3rd base, that's going to die. There's no chance. But in the meantime, this drop might do a lot of damage. You can see Oh, God. War Prison, be careful.
War Prison has to be very cautious, but he has to be very wary of the fact that there is Infestors out to really lock down the army. In fact, I'm pretty sure the Infestors just chain fungled with their energy. They could collectively destroy everything without
Bischu, what you doing? He's going to lose his War Prism. Oh, my God. 3 hit points now.
War Prism is very, very low, but he has to worry about the engagement. Also by the third, mass force fields and Infested Terrans being dropped everywhere. The Colossus is locked down, Andre, which means they can't necessarily run. Actually, he can run right now because he didn't chain fungal it. Infestors, instead using the energy for Infested Terrans, I thought that Bischu was in trouble, but in terms of his Colossus, but now he's able to utilize forces a little bit better. He's trying to really force the units in awkward positions. And the Roaches honestly can't really full out engage. Bischu's doing the best he can micro-wise, and these Zealots are still chopping up a lot back at home. Bischu's stabilizing a lot better than I thought he would.
Wow.
And this is phenomenal micro.
Yeah. And that was a lot of Infestor energy to actually burn. But still, I would give the advantage to Slivko, even though so much economic damage has been done. Income tap showing 48 to 52 with advantage for Bischu. The fact of the matter is 6 gas. 6 gas is up. 4th hatchery is already up. Slivko is in a pretty comfortable position, seeing at he's at 176 supply to his opponent's 116. Man, this War Prism needs to die, man. 3 hit points. It's so sick.
But it's got full shields. It's got full shields.
Oh, Dark Templar.
Dark Templars are now getting in. And this is just outside the skirts of Slivko's vision, so he won't ever know really about this War Prism. And by when I say that, it means that he'll spot it immediately.
Yes. It's the caster curse, man.
It is.
You have to know. Anything that you say, it's just the players are going to find out immediately.
For those of you who don't know, there is a delay on the stream that we can prevent players from being able to hear what we're saying as well. So this is pretty much just Slivko's 6th sense in StarCraft, to be able to really sense these kinds of things. Actually, most Zergs really sense it. If they see like a harassment coming, a warp in from somewhere, they pretty much know exactly where it's coming from.
Absolutely.
You just kind of learn over time.
Bischu doing a good job, by the way, with keeping up the activity with this harass. A lot of players actually forget to harass when they're coming back into the game, or they just only harass. But this is good. Bischu's doing just a little bit of everything, buying himself a lot of time. And look at this, 3 Colossus already up. Thermal Lance, I'm sure, is already finished. 9 range, there it is. And that's going to help incredibly against this army. Now, here's the thing. Corruptors are out in the field, so he has to be sure he protects the Colossus as much as possible. Yes. That was actually a great engagement to have. I think he should have went there. Just force field out the Infestors and target down all the Corruptors.
Yeah, I think Bischu wasn't sure about the positioning, though, and how much units Zerg has, but at this point, Bischu didn't recognize it, and he's going to lose everything in terms of his Colossus count and the heavy-hitting units. He only has Stalkers left, and that is great for Slivko. In fact, Slivko is backing off because he doesn't have a lot of Infestor energy, but he could just pretty much confront this army directly and completely crush it. Wants to wait for his Roaches, and the beautiful thing is that during this entire time, Bischu's still been harassing, but Slivko's already been defending it pretty nicely, and he's got his Greater Spire on the way.
No! War Prism died.
Has been dealt with.
Finally. That's so sad. Bischu is in a very uncomfortable situation where he has to deal with this army first. Of course, the Roach Infestor needs some sort of like High Templars, or AoE, I should say. AoE, High Templars or Colossus, or even mass units, Stalkers and Immortals. But then you have to deal with the imposing threat of Broodlords. Broodlords obviously so powerful. Here we go.
Needs to fungal to latch down the Stalkers from being able to prevent them from doing anything. But GG, Bischu realizes he doesn't have enough to keep this game going. Slivko wins 3 in a row. Slivko.
Not bad.
Very well done. The Russian Zerg proving that he's one of the top Zergs. He's not a patch Zerg. He's phenomenal. And he's been winning in matchups. Like, he's winning ZVZ and ZVP. A lot of people were saying ZVT was the one that made a big difference. But no, the other matchups with Slivko looking very sharp.
I think that last game, the Forge placement was incorrect. I think a Gateway should go there every single time. Once you show the Forge after going in Gateway expansion, it's basically saying, well, I'm very, very limited to either a +1 attack. All I have to do is keep an Overlord on top of that Forge, and I'll know if it's a +1 timing. If it's not that, then I know it's strictly for defense. And if you're going that Forge, well, what are you going? It's most likely some sort of tech. Stargate or Dark Templars. That's the main option for both of those. He went, obviously, Dark Templars. He got the Spores up in time, and it was a big advantage from there. I wouldn't say GG, but it was a huge advantage for Zerg player Slivko. And from there, he was able to just continue it on. Every single battle looked so one-sided for Slivko.
Slivko wins his 3rd game in a row. That's actually 2 players today that had won 3 in a row. We'll see whether or not he's able to keep it up against Bly from Team Acer. When we come back, is another ZVZ here at the NASL EU Gauntlet.